Blog Talk Radio.
Do you do when you don't know? Just go and ask for do. A Horazy will journey with you to all the places on
Ready
the
to see today.
What do you do when you don't know? Just go and ask for do. A Horazy will journey with you to all the places others won't go.
You're listening to Ask the Unicorn, live with Horazy Deliza, answering all your paranormal, metaphysical, and spiritual questions. Call us now at 718-664-9638 to speak with Ahura, or post your questions via chat room on our show page. And now your host, Ahura Z.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ahura Z, and you're on the air live on Ask the Unicorn. And tonight's topic I want to talk about is vision, the difference between when you're actually seeing a vision and when you're just imagining something. I know that this confuses a lot of people, so I decided on this particular topic because I have people that see a lot of things and they don't know how to discern, or they don't know how to filter the things that they see. And there are others that come to me with their visions, and what they are is just maybe their intuition, but sometimes they're just kind of mixed in with their imagination. Now, both are good. Understand this. Imagination is basically the fuel of vision. So I want to make that perfectly clear first off. Now, when a person is seeing a vision is can be seen, it can be felt, it can be heard, it can be smelled, it can be tasted, it can be touched. It's one of those things that is universal. It's not just with the eyes. Too often we think that vision has to do with what you saw with your eyes, and it doesn't. There are different ways of seeing things. Every way that you can possibly see something is valid. For instance, there are those people that see things by touch, and they call them touch feelers, or in the better term, you would call it psychometry or telemetry, and they have the ability to feel things or feel impressions or past events or future events by touching an object. There are those people that know-see. There are those people that, in other words, know-seeing is you know something is happening. You know it. It goes beyond what you believe. You just know it. And, some people may call that sensing it, but it's actually called know-seeing. There is hear-seeing, where you hear things, and it's just as important as seeing something. There is see-seeing, of course, and then there is smell-seeing, because the olfactory sense is probably the strongest sense that we have as far as the physical sense, because it touches every single other sense that we have. Then there's taste-seeing, okay? And these things are all valid. They give you the same impression, they give you the same magnitude of energy. It's just that they come in different forms, or they come in different expressions, and that's what we're going to kind of talk about tonight. Of course, I will answer any of your questions, whether they be personal questions or non-personal questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them. However, there are, as I always say, there are two types of questions that I do not answer in a public forum, and what that is whether or not your mate is cheating on you, or whether or not someone's going to die. I don't think that that's fair. I don't think it's fair to the person that you're asking about, nor do I think that it's fair to you or myself. So we will keep those kinds of questions out of things. As far as your political views, I really don't care about them, because I'm a kind of a non-political person. The only reason that I've actually gotten into politics is almost because I've been forced to, because of some of the things that have happened with our government. Beyond that, I'd like to keep things on a floor of equilibrium. In other words, for those of you that are Democrats, I don't care. For those of you that are Republicans, I don't care. For those of you that are independents, I don't care. We're all people here. We're all family, because we all live on this earth. So I'm hoping that all of you can put aside those kinds of views just to be able to ask your questions and get your answers the way that you can. Now, in the event that you have a crisis, I'll be more than happy to help you with that. I'm not going to air all of your laundry on the air, but what I will do is have you go to our screening room or go to our studio so that perhaps I can set up an appointment with you. Now, speaking of those appointments can be set up anytime that you want them, whether it be you're calling in on this show, or whether it be you're calling in later, or you're typing in. The important thing is that if you need help, I am here and I'm at your service. This is what I do. This is not my hobby. This is my life. I use my vision so that I can help people find themselves and help them develop themselves and help them to get the answers that they need in the world of the spiritual, the metaphysical, the paranormal, and the mystical. And I can also help you with some manual things. Okay. Now, as I said earlier, I'm Ahura Z. For those of you that have just tuned in, for those of you that are regular listeners, thank you for coming out, and thank you for taking the time to listen to our show, and we'll get better and better as we go. Now, I'm going to open the floor to our first question tonight. What do you got for me, Kazi?
The first question is from Renee via email. She says, "Hi, I have a simple question. Yesterday I was walking towards the door and stepped on a warm spot on the carpet. Warm, like an animal was laying there. It's very cold where I live, and the heater had been broke. This was at night, and I wanted to know if spirits can leave warm spots. Thank you."
Okay, to answer your question, yes, spirits can leave a warm spot, but also you may have come upon a place that we call a energy center or vortex. Okay, sometimes there are on the earth itself, certain centers that emanate heat and certain centers that emanate cold. And these have to do with the spiritual energy of the earth itself, remembering that the earth is a sentient and living being. Now, sometimes what happens is those vortexes move, or they've been there all the time, and we never really notice them because we go through our day-to-day events like they're just memorization. But you may have stumbled upon a vortex, and if it gave you some comfort because it was warm, yes, it may have been a spirit of a person or an animal or anything. But at the same time, it also could have been the spirit of the earth and one of those smaller vortexes that you keyed into. I think that's a very cool thing, that you were out in the cold and you felt that warm spot, which also validates something you may have been thinking about yourself, that you do have a little bit of intuition yourself. Remember, when there is a mystical experience, it takes two to tango. There can't just be the mystical experience and no one there that has the actual intuition to see it. If you're seeing something, that means that there's something on the inside of you that has a resonance in order to see that. Do you understand? So you have to give yourself a little bit of validation as well. But yes, you're right. They can leave warm spots. Next question. I hope this helps you. Oh, by the way, my assistant here is Kazi, near Kazi to all. She's also my daughter. Kazi, go ahead and say hello. Maybe say a few words.
Hello, and thank you all for tuning in. We look forward to your questions every week.
That's great. She doesn't like when I do that, but I do it anyway. Anyway, what is our next question?
Next question is from Christine Libin via email. And she says, "Please tell some specific practices anyone can use daily to spiritually protect themselves." Okay.
Let's see. There are many spiritual practices that you can use. Now, when we say the word spiritual, a lot of times we kind of put a connotation on it, but let me just take all of the mystery out of the spiritual. Spirituality, first and foremost, is reality. In other words, those things that are going to be real for you to do. The first thing that you want to do is use basic common sense. If you know that you need to eat, then eat. If you know that you need to clean yourself, clean yourself. If you know that you need to go to work, go to work. If you know that you need to finish certain things, then finish those things. That's one of the first things that you can do to protect yourself. Then we can go up into the esoteric, okay? At that particular point, you ask yourself a few questions. 1, 5 questions, which is why you have 4 fingers and a thumb for those of you that want to be technical, but I'll just say 5 fingers. You have these 5 fingers, and you can use every one in doing a daily inventory of your life. 1, are you eating right? Are you eating enough? 2, is there some spiritual content in your life? In other words, something that makes you think and something that makes you consider all that there is. 3, how are your personal relationships? Is everything okay? Did you go to bed angry last night at your mate? Or did you say something that you need to apologize for? Then make sure that you do. There's nothing wrong with apologizing for something that you did wrong. You don't have to be, hard-headed about it. Okay? 4, are you getting enough exercise? Okay? And 5, are your day-to-day activity giving you enough energy? Are you checking your energy on a daily basis? In other words, if you know that you're low energy, then there's something in that basic 5 that you are missing. And that's just the way that it is. Remember, food, that's one of those things that we all need. I don't care whether you're a vegetarian or an omnivore. You need to make sure that you're eating correctly and drinking enough water. And for those of you that like to drink all of the soda and so forth, and, I'm one of those, even though I refrain from it, make sure that your body is cleansing, okay? Now, I have to say this a little bit because we don't really know what we're eating. We think that we're eating certain things because of advertisements and because of TV shows and because of commercials and so forth and so forth. But we all need to be responsible for our diets. Check your salt levels, okay? Basically, we're only supposed to be having about 2.5 grams of salt, but most people eat between 8 to 10 grams of salt thinking that they're eating healthy and not really reading what you're eating. So just kind of take that into consideration. For those of you that are vegetarians, don't go around in this hate protest about meat. There's some people that need meat. And you know what? If you're honest with yourself, you'll tell yourself that you need meat. I've met maybe 2 or 3 people in my lifetime that were actual vegetarians. That means that there are a lot of them. But you don't declare war on meat eaters, and meat eaters don't declare war on vegetarians. That's just the way that they're built. Some people can't process meat or meat protein. But you know what? Don't be guilty about what it is that you eat. If you know that you're not supposed to be eating certain things, then take care of yourself. If you know that you need to eat certain things, stay out of everyone else's political views. Okay? Don't go around waving a banner saying things like meat is murder and so forth, because that's absolutely ridiculous. At the same time, take care of the vegetables that you do eat. Take care of the earth so that the earth yields to you some good product. Yes, there are a lot of pesticides and all that good stuff, and, I don't approve of them at all, but I'm not going to get into that type of debate. Just make sure you know where your vegetables come from and make sure that they are good for you. Okay? But watch the salt. It's bad for you. Okay, watch the sodium. It's really, really bad for you. Okay, and that's coming from experience. I'm better now, but, I had a sodium incident and it wasn't cool. Okay, so make sure that you're eating well. Now, with those with your spiritual content, it takes maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes a day for you to actually just sit down and just reflect on your day and reflect on your life and reflect on what it is that you say that you want to do with your life. And then see things in the grand scheme. Is this, am I really giving myself what I say that I want? Or am I just doing something out of obligation? Am I doing something because somebody else wants me to do it? Am I not being true to myself based upon what someone else will think of me? You have to do those things on the inside of yourself. And at the same time, you have to have enough responsibility to reflect on whether or not you are affecting someone else badly. Or you're affecting yourself badly. Whether you're affecting yourself good or bad. You have to really take those things into consideration, either before your day, during your day, or after your day. But at all costs, do not go to bed upset. Do not go to bed angry. Don't go to bed with some kind of dissension, because it will stay there and fester and stay within your own consciousness. And remember, if you're going to declare yourself a spiritual being, remember, you have to be real. And you cannot be real if you are harboring something that is an illusion. So, we've covered these things thus far. Make sure your relationships are good. Okay, so what? You faux pas, right? You got mad when you didn't need to get mad. Maybe you said something really stupid to the person that you say that you love. Hopefully that person understands that we're all stupid at one point or a time. And, I can say things like being stupid because, I faux pas a lot, but I'm at least man enough to admit when I'm wrong, and then we can go from there. And, you have to do that with your family. Don't decide that you're just going to turn over and say, well, I'm going to sleep and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Because if you do that, you basically just destroy any good energy that you've had. I don't care if you've spent the whole day making good energy and being positive, and that one moment you decided that you were going to go to bed angry, what you've done is you've sabotaged your whole thing. So at least consider it, at least consider mending the relationship, whether it's with a friend, whether it's with an associate, or whether it's with your loved one. Remember, if it's an associate, you can only do so much, so don't go, making yourself responsible for everything that they're feeling. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is make sure that on your part you do all that you can. Good. So I've given you some really good points, okay? Oh, by the way, physical exercise is a must. For you people that don't think that exercise is good for you, wrong answer. You need to exercise. Your body is made to have the muscles be developed. I don't mean for you to walk around like the Incredible Hulk, because you don't need to do that, but you need to at least do some kind of exercise so that your body doesn't rebel against you. And believe me, it can. So rather than go that way, do some exercise, whether it be walking, maybe it be Tai Chi, get up and do some form of martial art, get up and do some form of dance or some form of movement. Go for a wonderful walk on the beach, okay? Just go for a walk. Maybe walk around your house, wave your arms about. Maybe the people that you live with will think you're nuts, but at least you'll be a healthy nut, so do those kinds of things. Remember, everything starts with your reality, even in the spiritual world. Find some spiritual content that you can put into yourself, and believe me, there is a whole universe worth of spiritual content, good spiritual content that you can inhale into your life and into your body and into your mind and into your already healthy spirit. So these are some basic things that you can do. Go say hello to someone. Even if you just want to say hello, you don't have to say anything else. For you young people out there, you go in and you're feeling all nervous about saying hello to someone, just say hi. If they don't say hi back, leave it at that. Let them know that you're alive. Let yourself know that you're alive. And I think that this will keep you all healthy and also keep you protected. Now, if you're looking for the more esoteric answers, how do you protect yourself, if you start with those basic things, I promise you, your protection level will go up. It will go up about 30 to 40%. So try doing that if you would. All right. I hope that this helps you, and we're going to move to our next question.
All right. This next one is from I Choose to Be Happy via YouTube. And they say, I caught the show over on American Freedom Radio. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I have two questions. First one is channeling ever considered a possession?
No, not necessarily. A possession means that person is taking control and they're staying. Someone is taking control and they now possess. You have to be clear on what your definitions are. When someone is channeling a spirit, that means that what they're actually doing is pulling the energy of that particular entity or spirit. Hopefully, you don't get too involved in doing such things. Remember, if you develop your intuition, you'll know what that entity is saying to you without letting them into you. Those are people that have a very special gift, and that gift is called being a medium. It's a mediumship, and they're able to do such things, but even they have to keep an arm's distance. Okay, so when you're channeling something, understand you have to know whether or not you're channeling it, or is it something that is within you that you're able to do, that the universe has opened you up to be able to do. Now, when you're channeling something, it's a temporary thing, and just like our lives are temporal, but it's something that doesn't stay necessarily with you. A possession stays. In other words, it tries to stay. So don't go mixing channeling with possession, because they're two entirely different things. Okay? There are absolutely two entirely different things. One can be extremely positive. The other one is extremely negative. There's no such thing as a good possession. Okay? Remember, to violate the free will of any being is wrong. So let's be clear on that. Channeling can be a very positive experience, and it's just temporal. So hopefully that helps you.
All right, and the second part of their question was...
Okay, go on.
I have dreams that show future events in my life, and they usually turn out to be negative. Is there any way I can change the outcome before the event? Since I don't recognize the people or places when I meet them, only after I redream the dream do I see things clearly. Thanks for the tips.
I think that the best thing for you to do is to develop your ability to dream so that you have some lucidity or some control over the direction of those dreams. Remember, you can change things in dreams, but you have to know what you're doing. So I might suggest that you seek training. There are a lot of very good teachers, I'm being one of them, that can help you train yourself so that you understand whether you're dreaming or whether you're not dreaming, and what to do while you're in a dream if you can obtain some level of lucidity. That's where it starts. You have to know that you're dreaming when you're dreaming in order to change anything. So seek some training. Okay. All right. Now what we're going to do is take a brief break. I'm going to let you hear a very beautiful song that is called Athenatis, and this is a piece of music that Pisces Projekt does, and we did this in honor of Athena. So I hope you enjoy this. We'll be back momentarily. You're on the air live That was Pisces Projekt performing Athenatis from their opera album, or from their Planets album, excuse me. If you like any of the music that you're hearing on the show, all these tracks are available to download from our record label website. That's Unicorn One Records. That is www.unicornonerecords.com. Okay? That is Unicorn One Records, www.unicorn1records.com. We'll also put up download links to all of the tracks that are featured in this episode of Ask the Unicorn when we post the show on air. All right. Now, we have some very wonderful questions. I want to give everyone the opportunity to have their questions answered. If you want to call in, that would be wonderful as well. Now, if you want to call in, the actual number will be 718-664-9638, and we welcome your calls. That is 718-664-9638. Now, tonight's topic has been vision. However, you can ask any kind of question that you want to, as long as it pertains to the spiritual, the metaphysical, the paranormal, and the mystical. In other words, if you're doing spell work and you need some help with your spell work, I'll be more than happy to do that. If you need to learn ways of prayer, I'll be happy to help with that. If you need prayer, we'll be happy to help with that as well. If you also just need to have questions answered about intuition and development, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I am the answer person, one of many that may be on this earth. I'm very good. I had a good teacher. I know what I'm doing. I am Uhura Z. I'm also known as the Unicorn, which is, per the show, Ask the Unicorn. Now, let's get back to our questions. What do you got for me, Cosmo?
All right, this next question is from Monique via email, and she asks, hello, a while back I was wandering around my home when I met a spirit of a little boy. He looked about 7 or 8 years old. He likes to play hide and seek. However, over the coming months, he's been constantly following me and watching me. I don't know who he is or what he wants. He seems to be friendly, but sometimes he makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Why is he here, and why is he so attached to me?
That's actually a very private conversation that you and I can have at some point in time if you call me and set up an appointment. I know that you really want to know this. When it comes to children that are doing things like that and you have that uncomfortable feeling, it's usually because there's a connection between you and the child. I won't go into the connection between you and the child, but it might be a good idea if you actually called so that I can speak to you privately on that matter, okay? Rather than to air the whole thing on the show. So hopefully you will do that, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions on a private basis. Thank you.
All right, this next question is from Anonymous. I heard your interview on American Freedom Radio this Saturday. It was a very interesting show. One thing stuck out to me in particular. You guys were talking about the Shanghai tunnels in Portland, Oregon, and how it was a place where awful things happened back in the day, and that even now it is a place of drug abuse and prostitution. You had said that the community needs to be cleaned up, that if you can clean up the community, you clean up the energy. I would like to know, how far does that principle go, and what is the limit? Are there energies that cannot be cleaned or changed simply by physically cleaning up a place?
Actually, what I said or meant to say was that you have to clean the energy up, and then you can also clean the community. But if you clean up physically there, that helps a lot. However, you're going to have to clean up the negative entity or the negative energy that has settled itself there. Remember, it has a very long history of violence, of degradation, and that has to be cleaned up. It almost has to be aired out, like the doors to it have to be open so that all of the stench of it can just leave. And then you have to be willing to break it all down, even on a physical basis, so that you can reestablish something. You've got to get the bad element out. And whether that means people that are doing drugs and doing all kinds of violence and things like that, you've got to get that out, and you have to be willing to do that. And it's a big project. Cleaning the energy out of any place is no small project. Even if it's just one room, that's a hefty project to do. But you clean the energy, you change the being. You change the being, you change the whole entire thing. Now, cleaning all of the physicality out of it helps. It does help, but it can only go so far. These energies have been stacked upon stacked, and then people go and reestablish them, and they reestablish them, they get stronger. You're going to have to really do a full-out boring of this place. Just bore it all the way out, mercilessly. Just get rid of it all. And if you do that correctly, you'll find that it will yield some very positive things. Remember, in a place that very negative things happen, you can't just ignore the positive things that may have happened there too. It's just that the negativity stands out more, and we as human beings in our awareness have the tendency to notice things that are negative more than we do positive. So you've got to kind of give yourself a little bit of equilibrium there. You'll clean it all out and start all over again, if you really want to do something. And it's going to take some time. People have to get the message. Not with violence. You can't go in there negatively and tell everybody, get out, because if you do that, you'll just be compounding the negative energy that is already there. You have to find a way to make them understand this is a very negative place, and we need to clean it up because it's really ruining our community, and then do something so that these people that have been pulled into this negative energy have somewhere to go for help. So like I said, it's a big project. And it takes a community to be willing to do such a thing. But almost any energy can be, cleaned out. Any energy can be changed. It's just whether or not you have the ability to deal with energies that are seemingly impossible, and you have the patience and the time. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to patience, time, and diligence, and the experience or the ability to do so. So yes, anything can be cleaned out. I hope that helps you. What do you got next?
This next question is from Anonymous. What is the difference between a place that is harboring darkness because of the activities that have been conducted there and a place harboring an actual evil presence?
Evil is evil, no matter what. Darkness, we have to define what darkness is, because most people think that something dark is also evil, but you can have positive darkness, you can have negative darkness, you can have light, positive light, and negative light. It just depends on the perspective of the person. But when we're talking about evil, evil is a principle, just like positivity is a principle. You have to discern whether or not it is actually evil. If it's hurting people, and it's hurting people willingly, and it's something that is done over and over and over again, we can pretty much surmise it is evil. If people just have a foreboding about it because they don't know about it and they label it dark, that's not the same thing. We see things darkly until they're lit up. No matter what it is, there are people that are afraid of aliens, but for all you know, they can be wonderful people, But if you don't know, then you'll call getting to know them dark. That doesn't make them evil. It just means that they're unknown. And sometimes, before you can even realize light, you have to understand what darkness is. And remembering that, perhaps what you'll do is be more open. I've seen things that are very dark-natured, but they've been pretty positive. I've seen even entities that were dark and wondered why they were being chased around like they were bad. It's just the nature of things. You have to understand the basic principle and nature of things. Evil is evil. Darkness could be evil or good, just like light could be evil or good. Who said that just because it's light, it's always positive? Sometimes it's not. I mean, we have lived in a society where religion was established, and some of those religions are just not very positive at all. Anything that tells you you're going to go to hell for any reason at all, just because you happen to look in a certain direction, can't possibly be positive. Anything that restricts people and tells them to get on their knees like slaves, to obey a very vengeful God or goddess, can't possibly be positive. However, if there's something that compels you to kneel out of reverence or kneel out of sacredness, that's something entirely different. You can't always judge things by their appearance. If something is dark, maybe there's something hidden there for you, something that is positive there for you. At the same time, it could be negative. What you're going to have to do is find out for yourself. This is why we call it life. It is a discovery. If it is evil, you get help. And you know it's evil, get out of there. If it's just dark or dark-natured, choose whether or not you want to be there and be a part of that particular darkness. Maybe you don't. Listen to some of the music that is out right now, some of the more classical music that has been done. Beethoven was a very interesting individual because some of his music was very, very dark, but then some of his music was magnificent. It was beautiful. Very, very light, very, very airy. It just depends on the nature of the person or the being or the place. So perhaps with your own discernment, you'll be able to judge that. And once you do, make a decision. I hope that helps you. What's next?
Next question was, if the physical structure is torn down, does that energy/entity dissipate, or does it stay attached to the same spot only to affect what else gets built there?
No, just because you destroy something physically doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Remember, energy is alive, and anything on this earth becomes alive. And if something has been established with energy and then it's built, that energy may last for hundreds of years afterwards. What we like to call that is a ghost, depending upon the nature of the energy. If it is a spirit, that spirit may decide to be there forever. So you really have to think about the nature of physicality. Physicality is not the end all. Just ask someone who's lost a limb. They may feel that limb still. And although science or psychology will try to tell them that it's just a phantom thing, remember, we all have an etheric body, we all have an astral body, we have a spirit and a soul. So science really doesn't know what they're talking about in this particular issue. Remember, those people are going to feel things whether or not they look and see something. Look at the person who is blind that develops all of their senses. They can sense an energy sometimes even better than those people that have eyes. So of course energy will play a huge part in that. I mean, you've gone to a place where something happened and then you go back to it and the building is no longer there, but you still have memories and you still feel some of the things that went on when that place was existent physically. That means that to a degree it does exist. This is a dimensional reality. This is not a single dimension. This is dimensional. In other words, there are multidimensional realities that happen every single day. Just because you may not see something on a physical level doesn't give it absolute validity. There's always going to be the energy of things, and we all need to remember that. We are multidimensional. If something dissipated just because the physicality dissipated, then that means that all memory of that thing would dissipate as well. That means that those people that have passed on that you love would dissipate just as well, and we know that not to be true. So you would have to spread that particular answer or nuance to everything else. You even remember your first teddy bear, if you had one. That means that to a degree it exists in you or with you. So, yeah, they exist long afterwards. Okay, what have you for me next?
Next question is from Anonymous. When moving to a new home, what are some things that can be done to clean away the energy of the past occupants and protect the home? Is it different for a place that is rented versus a place that you own?
There's no difference. If you're going to live in that particular place, you need to go through some steps like doing a thorough cleaning, okay? And that means a physical cleaning. And then you can do a thorough energy cleaning. There are some ceremonies that you can learn that will help you to do exactly that, to get rid of some of the vibrations of the previous people that were there. It's a very interesting thing. We use things every single day that can help us out that we take for granted because we really don't think about it. For instance, did you know that ammonia can wipe out a vibration? Just wipe it out. And if you smelled ammonia, you might understand why. But actually, on a metaphysical level and a physical metaphysical level, it actually dissipates a vibration so that you can set a new one. It's the most amazing thing. We have these kind of things around us all of the time. I think that we as human beings, there are simple things that we need like salt that have the ability to ward off certain psychic attacks. Not that you sit there eating salt, but you can put it around you, or you can put it in an object that acts as a talisman in your own home or in your room. These things help. Lighting a candle, the very light of the candle can cut down astral emanations. There's a really interesting thing that I found out about certain things, like an LED light, and you've all seen them. You know that LED light simulates daylight, and the most interesting property about it is that it cuts through astral emanations. It works almost like a lightsaber. It's really kind of funny. You can actually cleanse yourself using an LED light if you use it correctly. And it works wonderfully. You can cleanse your home even by using that LED light. But remember, these kind of things are temporal. They do not last forever. It's just like using a smudge stick. I hear all these people say, I smudged my home, and, the entity or the negativity was gone for a second, but then it came back. Well, there are a lot of equations to that. There are a lot of different reasons for that. One of the things is that using sage and using a smudge stick is used for ceremony. It's not used to do anything on a permanent basis. It's only temporal. It's used in ceremony. The moment that the ceremony is gone and the sage is gone, then the effect of the sage goes as well. It's supposed to be like an invisibility thing, temporal invisibility thing. You'll have to use other things to be more permanent. And these things are very common, and they can be used at any moment in time. But remember, you're going to have to apply some work here. There's no one thing that works always. You're going to have to practice some things over and over and over again. And a lot of them are based upon your level of confidence in what it is that you are doing. Now, these things like confidence and fortitude, they have been played down in our society because we use other words to defeat them, like humility. But understand this, humility is the mother of confidence. In other words, if you're not being confident doing something that you were taught to do or doing something that you were shown to do and doing it to the best of your ability, you're not being humble. So that might help you. If you're going to step, then step lively. And if you're going to clean your place, then clean it lively and know that this is exactly what you're going to do. Okay? I hope that helps you. All right. I'm going to take another short break just to give you all some of the websites and some of the ways that you can contact us. Remember, you can make calls as well as your computer. That is 718-664-9638, 718-664-9638. You're on the air live with Ahura Z on Ask the Unicorn.
You're listening to Ask the Unicorn with Ahura Z Deliza, answering all your paranormal, metaphysical, and spiritual questions. Call us now at 718-664-9638 to speak with Ahura, or post your questions via chat room on our show page. If you have an issue you'd like to discuss with Ahura in more detail, he offers telepathic readings and spiritual counseling by phone and Skype. Ahura also teaches private classes online using Skype video. For more information, visit Unicorn Cove School of Metaphysics at www.unicorn-cove.com. And now back to Ask the Unicorn.
Fire now, answer my call. Bring the dark thoughts, never
That was Pisces Projekt from their Spellbook album, Anti-Nightmare Spell. If you like the music, you can order this music and download. All you have to do is go to Unicorn One Records. That's www.unicornonerecords.com. And you can download your favorite song done by Pisces Projekt, or Hura Z, or by Zakur, or by Master Zichi. All of the music is done originally, and he also does vibrational frequencies. For those of you that may need the vibrational frequencies I'm saying he also does them, and that's me. So we're going to get back to our questions, but before we do, I want to make sure that you all know that you can make donations, and we would like for you all to make a donation to the show so that I can keep doing this show and to do other shows. The donations can be made by using the donations button on the front page of our Ask the Unicorn website at www.askunicorn.com. That is www.asktheunicorn.com. When you make a contribution, I will let everyone know that you did, unless you would like for me to keep it anonymous. However, we do appreciate all donations may be made to the show and all donations that may be made to the cause of enlightening people every day. Now, we're going to go get back to our questions. What do you got for me?
This one is from Shelley. Is there a prayer that is easy or simple to remember to help me get back on that path? Because I've lost my focus this week.
There are thousands of prayers that you can use. Thousands upon thousands. Pick one. Any of them will get you back. So long as you're not being guilty or punishing yourself for losing your way. We all do that from time to time. But remember, if we've lost our way, the road stays, which means you should be able to find your way back. Just simply say something that I say a lot. It's really simple. Just ask, let no evil come nigh me, my dwelling place. Help me to find myself, and help me to remember myself. Help me to be that which people need, and help me to exhibit the light that you put within me. You know, just something simple. There's no required prayer. I mean, you can even use something such as the Lord's Prayer, you know, which was one of the easiest prayers or methods of prayer that you can do. Just remember that when Jesus taught about this prayer, he didn't necessarily teach people to parrot the prayer, although lots of people do, and that's fine. But he was giving you an example of how to pray. So if you just immerse yourself and just look at this particular prayer and say, okay, well, I need to be able to pray like this. And you can do that. It gives you a great, Jesus gave great instructions here. You know, you start like this: Our Father who art in heaven. How would you say that? Hallowed be thy name. You can say, Our Mother which art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Hallowed means sacred, you know, or special. Or how would you say that? You know, follow the instructions. It's really, really simple. And if you feel like you need forgiveness to forgive yourself, you can ask God for forgiveness. You can ask the goddess for forgiveness. Just remember that's something that they have already done because they understand where we are. So you're going to have to forgive yourself as well for losing your way, and then make a decision to not lose your way again. And if you do get back on the path, well, there's no penalty here, so don't give yourself one. You know, better that you just learn from your mistakes and then move on. But if you need a prayer, that's one of the best prayers that there is. Just do it that way, you know, the way that Jesus was saying. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. How would you say that? Would you say, Father, Mother, God, you who control and do all things, help me to find my way? That's perfect. You know, however you choose to say it. Or maybe you just choose to say, to the universe, just, divinity, please help me find my way. I've lost my way and I need to gain some vision so that I can find my way again. It's not that complicated. It really isn't. We always think that we need a personage to look up to. We don't necessarily need the personage, but what you need is that energy, and that energy to be a part of you already. Remember, it also says that we are children of the kingdom, or children of the kingdom, children of God and Goddess. Therefore, you should never be caught begging. Say what you feel. Understanding that all those that have created this universe are listening constantly. That should help you. Quite simple. All right. I hope that helps you. Moving on to the next question.
This next question is from Keith, and it's a very good question. And he asks, hello, Z. I've been doing spell work for a little while now. When I first started, I used spells I found online and in books. They didn't feel like they worked for me. I decided to stay and do my own things with my spell work and have been having great success. Is there any reason for spells rhyming, etc.? I definitely think I am accomplishing what I set out to when I speak from the heart with my spell work. It just seems like my intentions are stronger, and it leads me to follow through my spells with actions after my spell after than feeling silly about using someone else's words.
What you're doing is how spell work is supposed to be done. Sometimes they do rhyme. This is a thing that is called iambic pentameter, words to rhythm, and there are a lot of mystics that use that, and they're very effective. However, it's best to take what someone else uses. If that spell does work and they offer it to you to use, you can use that, but make it yours if you're going to do that. In other words, one of the song that you just heard, which is the anti-nightmare spell, is a real spell, and it works. And you can do it in the way that it is done. However, you may have to do it your way. In other words, you don't have to say it very fast. You don't have to use it in a rhythmic type of a thing, but you can do it your way. Now, if you're going to make up the spell, make sure that that spell is going to work. Make sure that it fits your needs. And if you can get that spell to work, then you've done all the better. So you're supposed to explore. You're supposed to learn. You're supposed to fashion things. You're supposed to create things. You're not just supposed to parrot. Because remember, what works for one person may not work for you. And then you go back to a person and say, well, I tried this and it didn't work for me. And it's not that the spell doesn't work. It's just that you don't have the resonance for that particular spell. You know, if you feel silly doing someone else's words, then do your own. If you feel better doing your own words because they fit your particular personality, then do so. You can't really say something in Latin if you don't understand what Latin is. You're just parroting. You want to say something in another language, but you really don't understand or know the language or the culture. It's not going to be quite as effective as if you did it in the language that you speak. So it works with spells or spell work. You have to do something that is going to give you the resonance, your own personal resonance, not necessarily someone else's. There are spells that can be used universally. Those are wonderful, and they are very powerful. And, you don't have to be the one that says, well, I'm not going to use that spell because it's not my own, because you'd be missing out. But at the same time, you need to learn how to make a spell yours as well. There's some very tried and true spells, and they work wonderfully. They may not be to your liking, but they are to the liking of other people. So I can't tell you that one spell won't work and one spell will, but I can tell you definitely that if you find your own expression in doing any kind of spell, there's the ticket. That's what you're supposed to do with magic. So you're on the right track. Just keep going. So remember, some of the spells can be a little embarrassing, but you got to be willing to do that and just pass through your embarrassment. I hope that helps you. What do we have next?
Next question is from our listener in our chat room, Arlesia Valentine, and she asks, can you speak on manifesting? I've used a brown candle in the hope of getting into a home. Not sure whether or not it's working.
Okay. If you're not sure whether or not it's working or you don't feel that it's working, maybe you're just being impatient. I know that a lot of people use different vibrations, brown being one of those that has to do with earth, that also has to do with detachment and grounding. whether or not that candle is going to manifest a home, I think what you're doing is you're depending too much on the candle and not your own intention. So what you might do is use the candle, and at the same time, I need for you to find a white candle that is unmarked and unscented and light that at the same time. And then perhaps say something, even if it's just to the air and to yourself, affirming that you are looking for a new house. Okay, you can't just light the candle and then expect the candle to do the work for you. There's some very powerful talismans there, and that candle may be one of them, but at the same time, you need to direct the energy. So that is your own intention. So you need to let someone, even yourself, know, I'm looking for a new house. For instance, you sit there and you want that to be protected because you don't want darkness to come along or evil or negativity to come along and snatch that from you, because it can do that. There are more than one force on this planet in this lifetime. There's that force that wants to back everything that you're doing and make sure that you get what you want, but there's another force that will try to interfere. So you want to get rid of that force that is going to try to interfere. So my suggestion is for you to also light a white candle, understanding that you are setting forth the intention of positivity to get what it is that you want. Okay? These are some of the rules of manifestation, and we all forget them from time to time. In order for you to bring something into your life, you've got to be willing to let go of something negative in your life, or to ward off those negative things that try to put their nasty little claws on what it is that you are looking to receive. So start with that, and if you need more help, I'll be more than happy to help you. Okay. Now, we were talking about vision earlier, and you all have asked some great questions. I'd like to hear some more questions. At the same time, I want to see if I can get any of you to call in at the same time. That's 718-664-9638, and I'd be more than willing to speak to you, because I do like speaking to people one-to-one as opposed to sitting and talking into the air. Your questions are wonderful, though. Okay, what else have you got for me?
What are your thoughts on using items such as crystals and pendulums as aids in concentration and focus versus using them thinking they have power themselves?
Some of them actually do have power. However, that power has been inherent in them because they come from the earth, and the earth itself is alive, and they were there to perform a certain task or to perform a function. However, they are supposed to be used as a focal point. They're not supposed to be depended on necessarily, unless you have charged to do a certain thing. And even then, it is because you are the one that has charged them to do a certain thing. I think that they can be used wonderfully. I have absolutely nothing against them at all. I only have the dependency of them, depending on them all the time, that I have a problem with. You can't become dependent on these things. You have to understand that the very same elements that those crystals are made of exist on the inside of you, and you can call on the very same power to help you out and have that power invested in you so that you can deal with those things that you need to deal with. The crystals are wonderful. If you think that you need assistance in doing some of your tasks, you think you need assistance doing your magic, why not use some of the talismans that have been provided? I say everything is fair game. And remember, there's enough meat in the kitchen for everyone, so there's not one way to do it. Just be sure of what it is that you're doing. Don't go into some place and purchase a crystal because, someone came up to you and said, oh, this crystal is talking to you. And you understand the only thing that's saying to you is $2,500. You don't need to do that. You can find a small crystal. I know that we believe that just because something is really, really big and elaborate, it's going to have more powerful than that humble little crystal that you happen to find on the beach or someplace else or get from a little mom-and-pop shop. Listen, we need to get out of the grandioseness of things. Just because something is big and sparkly doesn't make it powerful. It merely makes it big, sparkly, and probably expensive. So don't be seduced into the phony things. You can pick up a regular rock and it will do the same thing that an amethyst will do, depending upon your particular intention and your particular focus. And it will help you to focus. Different crystals are used for different things. And if you understand what those crystals are actually used for, you won't be fooled by all of the airy-fairy fluff that there is. I'm going to get a rose quartz crystal because it will bring me love. Listen, a rose quartz crystal just like a regular quartz crystal, just like a rusty rock can bring you love if you know that that's what you're asking for and you understand that you have to love yourself first in order for love to find you. You know, it doesn't matter what the object is, as long as it's something that you can use on a positive basis and understand that you're merely using it as a focal point and not as the absolute. So as long as you understand that, you should do fine. All right, what do you got for me?
I have noticed a sudden increase in wiggly air, as I call it, with the sudden increase of trying to meditate. It usually sits just in front of me or directly above me. Is this my own energy, or am I experiencing something else altogether?
Can be your energy. You said wiggly. It could be your energy, or it can be another energy. Or it could be just a heat pattern, or a pattern from the earth, or a line of magnetism. It depends. It just depends on what it is that you are trying to accomplish, or what it is that may be being revealed to you. Sometimes it may be a spirit, and other times it may be an actual person that has learned to mask themselves, and that is the case with a lot of extraterrestrials. You know, we know that somebody's there, but they're hidden behind a shroud, or maybe they've learned how to bend light. And there are actually some creatures that know how to do that, creatures that have existed here long before we humans have. I mean, here on this earth. It's not like someone who came from another planet. There could be people that are here. There are types of creatures, even those that we like to call Bigfoot or Sasquatch. One day I'll tell you about my own encounter with a being like that, and it wasn't like any other things that you see on television where they show you a lumbering beast. I didn't have that kind of experience with what I saw, but some people may have. Understand that there are all kinds of experiences that we will have, and wiggly air is only one of them. That could have been a creature that just came up to look to see what you were about, or maybe they believed that you could see them, so they were investigating, and you just didn't see them at the time. It all comes down to development, and comes down to other things. You may have just seen a weather pattern. You may have just seen the prana in the air, or the energy in the air. There's so many different answers to that question. If you happen to see it again, though, I'd like to know. Thank you. I hope that helps you. All right, we are a little over tonight's program, but you know what I would like to do is make sure you all know that I'll be doing shows at different lengths. Sometimes I'll do one for 2 hours, sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes an hour. Either way, you'll all benefit from this, and I do hope that you tell your friends about this show so that they all can listen, and hopefully they will get the help that they need. Now, you can tune in every week. I'll be doing this every week, and hopefully if you all make donations and I'm able to do this more than just one night a week, I would love to do so. Now, I want to give you guys some of the websites that you can contact if you need to schedule an event, or you need to, schedule an appointment. One of them is Ask the Unicorn, this particular show. You can tune in here at www.asktheunicorn.com. You can also hear archived episodes of this show, or my show. And if you wanted to contact the school, Unicorn Cove School of Metaphysics, that is www.unicorn-cove.com, speaking a little fast for myself. And you'll get help there. There's also Unicorn Rangers for those that have a paranormal event happening in your life or in your home, and you need some help with that. That is www.unicornrangers.org, and this is where I have my Unicorn Ranger Psychic Police. We deal with paranormal investigation and entity removal, and to help you to understand and teach you and educate you on how to handle yourselves in a paranormal event. And you'll also find me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/AhuraZ. And I'm available all the time. As I said, this is my life. This is not my hobby. I don't do this just to entertain myself. This is what I've been taught to do, and I am making a living of it. And if you see your way to making donations, if you need to learn things and you need to take classes, I am available for that. And if you need an investigation or you need something taken out of your home, I am also available for that. Now, one of the things that I need to tell you is that if you need help in the areas of spirit removal, there's no payment for that. We take a small donation, and just for our traveling costs if you live far away. But I try not to refuse anyone help as long as I know that what they need is valid. Okay, so you can always just contact us. Oh, it looks like I do actually have a caller here, and I'm going to open the floor to this caller. Okay, hello. You're on the air live with the Horizy.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, this is Chris.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Good.
Hear from you. What can I do for you tonight, young man?
I was wondering, this might be a little off topic, but I've been told, because I've explored about religions and I thought about being multi-religious, and I've heard that from people that if you're multi-religious is the same thing as not believing in anything. Is that true?
Absolutely not. Those are very undereducated people, and they were trying to discourage you. Remember, whatever religion that you choose is your own business, and that has absolutely nothing to do with them. Okay, it is your spiritual walk. Remember, there are so many names for God. There are so many different types of religion, and all of them have a bit of the truth, and all of them are trying to lead you to they are attempting to lead you to a life of divinity. You just have to be very discerning and understanding of that particular religion. Do you understand?
Yep.
Okay, so it's not about what these people think. That's someone that is probably not a spiritualist in any way, shape, or form, and it's also someone that really doesn't know what they're talking about. And you can tell them that Ahurazi said that they have absolutely no idea what they're saying, and they should stop talking until they get an idea.
All right, and I have another question about that. I was talking to Aunt Marie about exploring, like going to other churches and seeing what they believe in. But what Aunt Marie said, she was like, "Well, you're gonna get confused, and you're gonna start not believing in anything." And I told her I really doubt that, since I'm pretty smart at not falling out of that kind of stuff.
Well, it's good that you fought for yourself. Tell Marie to stop it. She has no clue what she's saying. Okay? True that you do stand the chance to get a little confused based upon someone else's bias. But as long as you stay with the pure thought and you stay with actually learning about what that spiritual walk is about from different avenues, you won't get confused, and I don't think that you're prone to confusion anyway. So I think that you should continue with understanding different beliefs. Okay. As far as Marie goes, Marie could probably use a little bit of spirituality herself. So tell her that for me, and tell her to stop trying to confuse you. All right? It's good talking to you, young man.
All right.
You be good now. Okay, bye-bye.
I will. All right.
And that was Chris. Now, I think I have time for one more question.
Oh, all right. Next question is, what does it mean when you hear other people's voices in your head at night when you're going to sleep?
It means that you haven't cleared your head out, okay, because you probably hear other people's voices all day. And remember, this physicality does leave its impressions behind, so you probably forgot one of those points that I was talking to you about earlier, and you should probably get up, walk around a little bit, clear your head, okay? And understand that you're going to be starting a new day. Everything is fine. It would be a good idea for you to start that particular practice. Maybe do some breathing, calming your nerves, walking around, and if you can, learn a manual art such as Tai Chi or yoga, or do some form of exercise so that you ground yourself and quiet your head. Remember, we work around lots of people, and those people talk and they project their thoughts, and those thoughts get projected on you, which is why one of the things, if you're going to work every day, you want to make sure that you're cleaning those thoughts off of you and out of your head. Don't take your job home with you, okay? And just try to relax and try to be calm. Now, if you hear something that scares you, let me know. And if it doesn't scare you, it's just conscious mind jabber. You know, your conscious mind picks up all kinds of things. That's how we learn things. It's also how we have been taught because of society. You know, there's all these advertisements. All of a sudden you get that one song that is stuck in your head, and you have absolutely no idea how it got there, or you don't want it there, but you try to calm and relax relax yourself, and all of a sudden you hear, "What does the fox say?" You know, and you don't want to do that. You know, so you know, just clear your head a bit. You'll be fine. It happens to everybody. Yeah, don't think that you're being taunted by a spirit or anything like that. In the event that you actually are, there'll be other symptoms to go along with that. Okay, I hope that helps you. All right, I'm Ahura Z, and the name of the show is Ask the Unicorn. I run the show every single week, and I hope that you will always tune in. I have a great time doing the show. Tazi's here with me, and she's going to say goodnight to you all.
Good-night.
And I hope you all have a wonderful week. And in case I do another show, I'll let you all know. In the meantime, get your questions, write them down, because people have a tendency to forget their questions when they actually have them. And sometimes I'll answer them even before they ask them. So write your questions down, have them ready. For those of you that know someone that needs help, have them call in or tune into the show. I'm Ahura Z. This is Ask the Unicorn. Good night, all.
You've been listening to Ask the Unicorn with Ahura Z. DeLiza. If you have a personal matter you need help with, Ahura offers telepathic readings and spiritual counseling by phone and Skype. He also teaches private classes in an array of subjects online using Skype video. Visit Unicorn Cove School of Metaphysics for more information at www.unicorn-cove.com. If you have a question for Ahura to answer on a future episode of Ask the Unicorn, you can email it to questions@asktheunicorn.com, and we'll add it to the list for our next show. Ask the Unicorn broadcasts live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time on Blog Talk Radio. Visit our website for more information and to hear archived episodes of our show at www.asktheunicorn.com.
When you don't know, just go and ask for do-de-o-do. Ahura Z will journey with you to all the places on
Ready
the
to see
go.
today.
What do? And when you don't know, just go and ask for do-de-o-do. Ahura Z will journey with you to all the places others won't go.